Okay, well, let us get this show on the road. Rao, are you ready to give the tech update?
Yes, I am. Give me one
Awesome.
second. I'm going to share the link and then speak to it. So you should be able to see the community update 127. So where we are right now with the releases is that 0925 is running on the mainnet. And we're testing 0925.1 on the sandbox. There are a couple more PRs that are still being worked on. And then we should have 0925.1 testing on testnet probably towards the end of this week or early next week. That's kind of what we're shooting for right now. And the main content, like I said last week on 0925.1, is the DAG store, the block store, and the LMDB improvements, and using the key value store that Tomislav implemented in 0925 towards last finalized state. I will show you the, these are the PRs that are going into 0925.1. It's a total of about 15 PRs. I hope everybody's seeing my a list of PRs right now. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So these are the ones that are going in, and these are some of the main content, but you'll also see there is some CI stuff. There are some bug fixes. And then as we go through all of this, we're also trying to improve the reporting, error reporting and all that, so that more information is available for people to debug, including us. So those are the kinds of things that are going in 0925.1. Now this is kind of a substantial piece of the last finalized state effort that's been going on for a couple months, I guess, now. Tomislav is going to do a preliminary demo today of the last finalized state, a working last finalized state. There's still work that needs to be done on last finalized state, especially a lot of tests need to be written, and any edge cases that we may not have captured or whatever need to be addressed. So that work will continue, but you will see today what the state of the progress is with the last finalized state. So that, by and large, is the status of the releases and what we're doing in 0925.1 and what will be in 0926 after we get 0925.1 out. On 0926, currently, I think we said July 21st is the target. That may slip by a week or so, but we'll see. We'll comment on that once we have 0925.1 released, because it depends on how much testing or what testing discovers, what we discover during testing the 0925.1, how much effort it takes to clear those issues and so on and so forth. So that's where we are with that. On performance, I said last time that our focus is really to see how linear we can get relative to the threads available in the hardware environment. So we kind of started, NutZipper started doing some work in that arena to try to run substantially parallel or recursive contracts. But at this point, our results, what we are seeing is very preliminary. So we're beginning to analyze that. The process there is, first of all, we have to look at the contract to see if it is structured to measure what needs to be measured. So that's one part of that. And then when we get the results, we have both the performance numbers as well as the flame graphs and things like that to look at and say, well, are we seeing problems with the Rolang portion of it, or is it really just some underlying infrastructure, underlying machinery, basically, of whether it's Monix or Scala or any of those pieces, or the CATS, things like that. So CATS library of Scala. So what pieces really are we executing and what are we measuring? So it's a little bit of a back and forth to really get the test right, to be able to say what we're measuring. And with each iteration, in any case, we may find something that's eating up a lot of time, and that would kind of identify for us future targets to address. But of course, if those are libraries from elsewhere, we're mostly not going to bother too much about that. But if it is about our usage of those libraries, it is something that we can do something about. And so that's the kind of analysis that's going on the performance. But in terms of numbers and behavior, at this point, I don't have anything I want to report other than what we said last week on that. The scope of everything else roughly remains the same, what we're working on. It's just that the team is plugging through the bugs and the tests and the reviews and reworking of the PRs. That's what is going on. And on the SRE side, we have most of the mainnet observers are now on IBM Cloud. The Exchange servers are being moved, as well as some of the mainnet validator nodes are planned to be moved to the IBM so that we can use the grant we got from IBM. So with this effort, really, basically, there are two goals to this. One is we're trying to cut down the cost as possible, but we're also trying to introduce diversity of clouds into the mainnet validators. The goal, ideally, is to eventually have no more than a quarter to a third of the validator nodes running on any one cloud, so that if one cloud goes down, we still have the ability to continue with the network without any issues. So that's the goal. We are not quite there yet, and it may take a while to get there, but that's, in addition to cost savings, that's what we're trying to accomplish with that. The CI/CD work is continuing as before. Nothing substantial there, but you did see a couple of the CI/CD PRs that I just showed you a minute ago in the going into the 0925-1. On tech governance, these meetings happen every Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific. And every once in a while, we invite Greg to participate in those to address questions that we have accumulated for him. So this last session, Greg participated in the tech governance. So he addressed questions related to sharding and interaction among the shards, and also multi-sig wallets and the role of those. Mostly, in multi-sig wallets, we just covered the potential use cases for multi-sig wallets as to where all they could be used. I put the link down here below. You can go take a look at the notes. I don't want to cover this in too much detail here. The other areas Greg addressed were cross-chain interoperability, and that is related to, that also relates to sharding. One idea there is that maybe we can create either an Ethereum or Hyperledger or something like that as a shard, and demonstrate that as a template that others could use to do cross-chain solutions with other chains. So that's that's something that we were talking about. In one of the Casper sessions, I'm sorry, in one of the Casper sessions, Greg talked about consensus equational reasoning. So we kind of asked him about the relationship of that and theorem provers to governance. There are notes about that in the meeting notes at that link. You can follow through if you're interested in that. Separately from tech governance, but sort of related to it, is there were questions from the community. Arthur Grief did a demo of zero knowledge proof some time ago, and there were questions at that time from Jeremy, Kersey, and others. And that conversation is still continuing to say, what can we do related to enabling privacy and zero knowledge proofs on the chain? So that relative to that, Greg is going to create a position statement and possibly an RCast session discussing the state of the art in there and what the use cases might be and potential approaches, especially as they relate to RChain that we could implement. So that's look out for that RCast when that'll be coming. And I think Greg also said he might want to do a one on sharding and cross-chain. As far as delivery is concerned, keep in mind that basically right now the focus is last finalized state. And after that, it's block merging. And to deliver block merging requires substantial refactoring of the runtime manager. So these are the things that the development team is focused on at the moment. And of course, catching any bugs as we go along. And Dan Connolly continues to make progress on the RChat for using Zulip at this time. And then Theo gave an early demo of his functional cryptography-based, completely anonymous voting. I think he still has a couple of issues there to resolve, and when he's ready, he's going to do a demo of that. So that, sorry, go ahead, Theo.
In case there's still time.
Are you saying you want to do it today if there is still time after Tomislav's demo?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, all right.
Perfect, great.
Yeah. So with that, let me ask if there are any questions on any of this. If not, I will hand it over to Tomislav for his demo of, I guess, the first demo of last finalized state. Are there any questions on any of this?
Rao, I have a question. You were just talking about last finalized state, then the next step is block merge. And you were talking about some kind of an obstacle or what a challenge to get to that block merge. Can you repeat that again?
Yeah, so this is, I don't know if you're able to see my cursor right now, but refactoring runtime manager, that's also part of the effort to deliver block merge. I think that's what you're looking for. So runtime manager is a component in the code base. And the way it is written right now, we'll have to kind of modularize that and make it work more efficiently so that the block merge is possible. So that's what we're working on.
Thanks.
Does it help? Okay. All right. So I'll hand it over to Tomislav then, and Theo after that, I think. And Tomislav, if you, in addition to the last finalized state demo, if you want to say anything about runtime manager, feel free.
Yeah, I wanted to say this is like too much in detail because this is directly in the code. We have a runtime manager object which is doing all of this stuff for replaying blocks, creating blocks, and so we want to make it a little more modular so we can have better control. That's the thing.
Yeah, very good. All right, so you can go ahead and share your screen for your demo, Tomislav. I'm going to stop sharing.
Yes.
Or did I already? I think I already stopped sharing.
Yeah, you didn't share your screen. Only at the beginning. So hello all. Rafael reminded me that maybe I want to say something about the last finalized state and what it is. So I will try to write something and explain this in shortly. Because if I only show the logs from Arnold, maybe this is not very clear what is really going on. So I just want to say what this means, last finalized state, and what this means in terms of our state and execution, the whole Arnold. So let's start from blocks. So what is our structure that we can say we have a last finalized block? So on the beginning of the network, do you see my screen?
Yeah.
Cool. We're starting with this Genesis block. And I will just first write just bunch of blocks as they are created. So each validator creates some of the blocks, and these blocks can have multiple parent blocks. So for example, we can have this kind of network of blocks. And so what is inside each of these blocks? This is really our deploys. Oops. These our deploys that we push to the node are stored inside the blocks. So this is our rolling code. And for each of these deploys inside, we are also storing state changes. And we can see these state changes as a like a list of all the channels and values on these channels that are changed. So this is our whole structure that we have, that we are processing. So now we need to decide what really happens, because in some block can be invalid, or some block can be in conflicting state changes with other block. So with Casper we can decide what state we are sure that will never change, and this is what is mean that is finalized. So we are starting from our first Genesis block, because we are believing in this Genesis validated when network is started, and from that point we are creating some kind of line on all of the blocks that are finalized. And finalized means that these blocks has the most stake from all the validators. And at the end, we can have this kind of line in this graph of blocks. And so all of these blocks are in one moment finalized. And at the end, I mean, at the end, in one moment in time, we can say that this block is last finalized block. So now we know what is the state in that moment when this block is created. And with this feature of last finalized state, we can really download the state in that moment. And without replaying all of these blocks previously created, we can just download only part of the block needed for validation. Maybe just a few of these blocks, without going to the first genesis. So in a sense, this last finalized blocks becomes a new genesis, and from that point, we can really say that our node that we started can create blocks from that point without downloading anything previously. So this is like the main thing that we want to achieve with last finalized state. So now I want to switch to
Tomislav, you might want to speak to the effort involved by, or effort saved by doing this. For example, the play-replay of all these blocks, unless you're able to stick with the last finalized. Right.
Well, I didn't plan to go too much into details, so that I wanted to give just the overview of from the perspective of blocks, because okay. I'm not sure if now we're going to want to go too much into details, but I'm definitely will create more documentation and more specification about that, so we can be more clear. And yeah. We definitely want to specify this for other implementations.
Sounds good.
So to stop here. So here I will start on the left screen. I will just start one validator node. It has already some amount of blocks. And this is on my local machine, because the first testing today was not successful. So there is some blocks that I didn't anticipate that will be needed. So there should be additional checking to download all of these blocks. And so for now, this is only on my machine. So on the right side, I will start completely fresh RNode instance without anything in the database. And we will see that although blocks will be downloaded to the first genesis because of this validation, but we will see that they are not replayed from the beginning. Node is just downloaded the state, and without replaying any block, it can create a new block. And in this case, this is a read-only node, so I will push deploy on the left node, and right node will be replaying the block. So now we have everything downloaded. We can see here that last finalized state is received for this block, and I will push one deploy. So first on the left side, we see this deploy created with the block. And now we should see here this block received and replayed. So just on top of the last finalized block received, we have new block here. And that's basically my demo. Is there any question?
Well, thank you so much for the demo and all the hard work that's going into it. I hope people understand that this is the first step in the demonstration of a number of technical features that separates, Casper-based protocols from the rest of the blockchain protocols. And also separates RChain specifically because of our particular implementation of Casper and our execution mechanism, which we'll start to see the benefits of the execution mechanism in the block merge. But here we're starting to see some of the benefits of Casper and what it means for the blockchain. So synchronization will be many times faster, because you only have to go as far back as the last finalized state. And the other side of this is regulatory compliance. As soon as we start putting personal data on chain, we have to be able to forget data. So being able to go back to the last finalized state is one of the ways that we remain in compliance with things like GDPR. So hopefully people are beginning to see the not only the technical benefits and the speed benefits, but also the regulatory and compliance benefits. Any other questions or comments here?
Yeah, Greg, I had a question regarding that right to be forgotten with the GDPR. So as I understand it, as we advance, complete the epics, you know, epic 1, epic 2, epic 3, say we get up to epic 5, epics 1 through 4, as I understand it, those can be on other validator nodes. So if someone wants to go and look at information from the past, they can do that with these specialty nodes, but because it's old information on previous on blocks that have been you know, after a last finalized block, the cost to access that information is going to be much higher. So I guess I'm trying to understand if that's the case, that people can still access that information, old information, after a last finalized block at a higher cost, but then there's still this right to be forgotten GDPR. I'm not sure how those two fit together.
So that's a great question. I appreciate that. Again, there is no requirement that we keep the old information. For the functioning of the chain, from the point of view of minimized operational costs, it's best if the validators compactify the chain that they're recording at regular intervals. So the only reason to keep information around would be audits. So it's not necessarily a higher cost. It is perfectly feasible for all European nodes, for example, to simply forget the data every time the last finalized state is updated.
Okay, so that old information will be available, but only under restricted uses, such as an audit or something of that nature. And it won't be widely available at a higher cost, but rather restricted access.
Again, it's the access is more a matter of policy than a matter of mechanism. So if people continue to keep the data, then it becomes their burden to say how they are compliant.
Okay.
Right. So the protocol is compliant. What people do with the data in the past is their burden.
Understood. So a third party validator, as they go from epic to epic with last finalized block, they have this information, the old information, but due to the GDPR and regulatory policies, they have to be responsible, accountable for safeguarding that and handling it as they're supposed to.
Yes, I would say that they're not, for the functioning of the chain, it's not required that they keep that information.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they can get rid of the information because of GDPR and still have the chain continue.
Okay. So essentially, they just delete the information. Is that how
they can delete? They can delete the information.
Just
That's
delete
exactly.
the information. Okay.
Delete the information, exactly. If they want to hang on to it for audit purposes or other business purposes, and again, you know, depends upon the use. So, for example, if you're looking at if you are looking at provenance or asset tracking for sensitive things, such as scheduled drugs, fissionable materials, whatever it is. We're keeping the data around about the path of a particular asset is very, very important. Then under those circumstances, you can imagine you've got a shard where the data is kept around for a very long time.
Okay.
So right. So the point is the protocol does not require that you keep the data around, but it is still possible to keep the data around.
Okay, that was helpful. Sort of getting my bearings on all of that. So very good. Thank you.
Sure. No, thank you. These are good questions. Once again, thank you so much, Tomislav. That was a great demo, and I'm really proud of the work that you and the team have been doing. If there's no more on this, we can hand the mic over to Theo.
All right. I hope my voice isn't too echoing. I've been moving lately, so it's a lot of it's empty right in this room. Okay, let's go. I'm gonna share my screen. So don't mind the name RChain Hub, it's just a placeholder for now. But this is like the name for the app that I'm using for the voting app, where you essentially have a capability to vote in this app on RChain topics. So the purpose of anonymous voting app is to preserve anonymity of the voter and remove any bias. And it can also be used for the October's members meeting, where members will be voting on business matters. And it can also be used by any businesses that want to use anonymity in their voting. So it's not really tied to RChain necessarily. That's kind of its caveat. So the challenges with the truly anonymous voting is that truly anonymous voting never exists. It cannot be done. So existing solutions for anonymous voting are never truly anonymous. They're also prone to attacks and can be manipulated. And most of them never provide any proof other than database records and logs. So there is no mathematical proof that the voting took place or that participant has voted. They also require a trusted party to issue those tickets for individual members so that they can vote. So there is also no guarantee that the person who is issuing the tickets won't do anything to manipulate the voting results. And online voting system always requires some sort of internet connection, but mine doesn't. You'll see it in a few minutes. So requirements for my voting app is that each individual vote must be anonymous. Also that the system must be resilient to any attacks that currently are known. And you'll see how I solve those. Voting outcomes should not be tampered with. That's kind of the purpose of a voting app, that that must be reliable, so that you know the voting result is correct and it hasn't been manipulated. And of course, it cannot rely on a trusted entity that issue tickets. So the solution, of course not. It's not that complicated. So in my case, it's only a serverless application that's running on the web in a web browser. It doesn't need any backend in order to run. So it can even run offline. It's cross-platform. It can run on basically anything, down to a smart fridge or a watch, if needed. I'm using Vue and Ionic framework for the front end, and Capacitor to even deploy on Android. So I'm using TypeScript and Markdown to make it easier to kind of develop and write text in the app. It integrates nicely with GitHub. As you can see, there is text that's being rendered from GitHub issues. So every poll is kind of tied to a particular issue on GitHub. That's how it works right now. It uses URLs as a way of transport of encrypted data. This is how I achieved the capability to work offline. But I mean, it still uses URLs, so it's not really offline, but it kind of makes it a lot easier to use. As you will see it in a minute. So, but how does it work? I'm using functional encryption in order to tally the votes. So what is functional encryption? It's a way of calculating, it's a way of performing computation on encrypted data that has been encrypted by various parties. It's a lot faster than homomorphic encryption that uses circuits and it's not very performant. But functional encryption is almost like public key cryptography. It's nothing really special. So it's a lot faster. It also guarantees some sort of mathematical proof that the calculation has been performed and it performed accurately. So there is like there are no errors in the computation. And yeah, it does not rely on some entity to generate keys for the voters to encrypt their data. So the voter actually creates their own key locally. Okay, so who's up for the demo? I'm gonna copy this link. Do we have any volunteers?
Yeah, I'm copying
sure.
the link. You want us to copy the GitHub IO link?
Yeah, if we have like a few volunteers, not too many, because we'll have to wait for everyone to submit their.
Why don't you
links.
paste the link in the chat?
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, we can start with someone who's willing to create a poll. Who's up for the task?
What do I need to do? I will create a poll.
Okay, Tomislav, can you share your screen?
Okay. Sure. Where is my? Oh, but you are sharing your screen.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, try now.
Okay.
Okay, you can view any issue that's currently shown in RChips. Those are RChips.
The block merging.
Yeah.
Okay.
So down there you can see a button, create poll.
Okay.
Now you can type anything that has to do with this RChip that you want to make a poll about. Choose a number of members. Not too many. How many are willing to participate in the demo? Do we have volunteers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can participate.
So we have 4.
Okay. Yeah. Create 4. Should be enough.
Okay.
You can also create a few options besides yes or no. Could be maybe. You can press an add option button.
Oh,
and you can also change the text to anything.
Okay.
And now submit.
And this is?
Yeah, it will support different schemes. So for now, it's only one.
Oh, okay, cool. Submit.
Okay, you can press skip for now.
And, okay.
Because it won't be able to deploy anything. Okay, now you'll be able to basically press the copy URL button on each individual tickets and send those to people who want to participate. For example, Raul.
I can put this in the chat, right?
This is public.
Yeah, you can
You
do
can-
a private chat.
Yeah, you can send privately in Zoom as well. So you can
But
switch from everyone to Raul.
Is this a public link for everyone?
It's not. It's individual links for individual voters.
Uh,
So you can now scroll with your mouse to the right.
Not sure.
On the blue background, you can just scroll to the right with the mouse.
Oh,
Oops, to the
I
left.
see.
Sorry.
Oh,
Think of it as
it's like a
supporting.
touch screen. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Now
sorry?
you can copy and send it to. Now you can copy and send to the next person.
Okay.
I think you're
might
still
be-
on the first ticket.
Yeah, it moves after I.
Yeah, you
copied.
make sure
Okay.
that the checkbox. Yeah, second is selected. Perfect.
Okay. Who is the second? Nadzipper, are you in the game?
yep.
Okay, you are the second. Who is the? Oh, this is the third.
Yep.
You can be the third, right, Theo?
Yeah, sure.
And we need one more.
I'm ready. You can put Ian.
Cool. Here it is. This is the end.
Okay, all people have to do is just press select or wait for it to load. Once it's loaded, you can see all the options. You can just pick any option you like and press vote, and it will copy the URL in your buffer. And that URL will have to be sent back to Tomislav. At least for now. Later, it will push it to RChain network somehow.
So I've just opened my link and vote is not active button. What should I wait for?
It should be active. It automatically scrolls to your ticket.
Nadzipper, would you like to share your screen so we can see?
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, give me a second.
So Theo, one question: how is protected this URL? This should be like private information, right?
It is private. I mean, it is encrypted, so you cannot even see what's inside there, what the person has voted.
Okay, can you see?
Yes.
Yeah, you can vote.
So,
You see the vote as ID1 is enabled.
yeah, weird. It was not active a moment ago. Okay, I voted. Hell yeah. Okay, my vote copied to clipboard. So now I should.
Yeah, now you send it back to Tomislav.
So to the poll creator.
Yeah, exactly.
Or it can be like a public tweet. So here's my vote.
Yeah, it can be public. No, doesn't matter. It should be public, in fact, so that anyone can calculate the final result.
I see. Okay, cool. Let me.
You can even
I will-
you can paste your link publicly, so it already copied to the buffer. You don't need to.
Cool. Let me.
You can just go in the Zoom chat and paste it over there.
Yes, but Zoom clipboard doesn't work for me well. Okay, let me.
It should be already in clipboard.
Yeah, but it's just a Zoom clipboard doesn't work well for me for quite a long time.
Yeah, when you're sharing, sometimes that's an issue.
I will share my screen again so that I can enter this data that you sent.
Yeah. This is my vote. I've posted into the Zoom chat my vote.
Okay, Theo, what should I do now?
Now you basically open up his link.
Okay. Do I need to do something more?
No, it's currently checking that your vote is valid. So it should pop up right any second. The actual poll.
And this initial link that I sent to everyone, you say this is not private, but anyone can vote if it has this link, right?
The person who received the link can vote, yes.
So this link should be private.
Yeah, this is why I asked you to send those links in private chat to everyone.
Okay.
Which you did. Why isn't it working? It should pop up the actual poll. Can you?
Should I do it again?
Try again. I don't know.
Okay.
So
yeah, here we go.
Here is what I noticed. I used the link that NotZipper posted. And
no, you should first start with the link that Tomislav posted you.
I know, I finished mine. I did my vote and I gave Tomislav in private my link. But since NotZipper posted his link publicly, I went over there. It let me vote as vote again as ID1.
I think you were ID1.
No, I was ID0 before.
Okay. It shouldn't let you vote as ID1 because that link only contained one public key.
I will try to click.
Private key.
Can I now click on Rao's link?
Yeah, actually, I've just opened what I've posted, and it's a vote form for ID1. So it's kind of I just opened. Let me share.
Okay.
Okay, so here's my form. I voted yes. And this is.
You don't need to press the copy URL. It already copied your vote.
But if I press this one, should I have the same URL, or this will be?
No, it will not be the same. You'll basically copy the link you previously entered, and that link will contain the private key that you used to vote for.
So I screwed everything because I just pasted my private link.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is probably why.
Okay,
yeah, I'm also gonna paste my vote as well.
Can I get somewhere the result of my vote let me try one more time to
Yeah, you can.
where's the chat?
I mean, you can vote again and any amount of times. Nothing
Okay,
stops
so
you.
I have something in my clipboard. I'm not sure that it is.
That's a different repository. That's governance. You can just switch tabs.
No, it's again, might be something wrong with the clipboard, but it's again my vote form.
That's
Okay,
weird because
no,
the link that's being copied right now, it should not contain your private key. So there we go. This is the right link. You see, you cannot vote with this link.
mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right.
So the link that is currently in your clipboard, can you copy it? Like, can you paste it in the chat?
No, no, I cannot.
Well, if you stop sharing,
It doesn't work. Okay.
Tomislav, how is it going so far? Have you opened some links? You should see check marks turning green.
No, my clipboard is empty. Oh, I have something. Tomislav, I sent you in DMs.
Okay. Oh, now I have a lot. Okay, the last link from you is this.
Mm-hmm. Yes, this one.
Okay, now I should just wait a little, right?
Yeah.
Can I also click on your link in the same time?
Yeah. You can do it on different tabs. It doesn't matter. It stores the votes in local storage once they are correct.
And this is only have effect if I open this link because I created a poll.
No, anyone can. So once those links are published, anyone can click on those 4 links and check the voting results of everyone. That's kind of the idea.
I see. So they are like one piece of the poll.
Yeah, and you need all 4 of them in order to see the result.
Oh, cool.
Maybe it's your browser, something. I tested on all browsers, in Firefox, in Chrome, and in Edge. Everything works.
Well, demo is short for demolition. Unfortunately, we're almost out of time here, and we do have a couple of other points to make. I'm really encouraged by the work, and obviously there's some ways to go. I'm looking forward for the next steps.
Yeah, go ahead, Greg.
Awesome. I appreciate. Yeah, it's looking good. So the one thing is that we have sent out a notice of the AGM to all members. We have received some number of responses with the addresses, but we need everyone to send in a rev address for participation in the AGM. If you get your address in before the 31st of July, then you will have a 100 rev in the at the address that you sent in. So Ian, is there anything else that you want to say about this?
Sure. The subject of the email that you should be looking for is 2020 Notice of RChain Co-op Annual Meeting, and it's being sent to you from membership@rchain.coop.
So if you don't have it, check your spam folders or spam filters, things like that. But it is really important that you get us your Rev address. We won't pay out the Rev for those who get in until the 31st of July.
Yeah.
So just so if you're checking that address over and over again, just know that we won't pay it out until the 31st of July.
And go ahead and contact me on Discord if you have not received it. Perhaps your email address on record has changed, but just reach out to me on Discord.
Yeah. Okay. Daryl, you want to go ahead and give your community in review?
Sure. Okay, hey everybody. So last Thursday, July 2nd, there was a governance committee call. The governance committee reaffirmed to maintain committee chair positions as volunteer positions with no compensation. Reviewed the permissions on the governance committee log and modified these to ensure security. We also discussed sharing the committee's weekly agenda with the membership each week prior to meeting, and then published a summary of what we worked on each week. Ian shared a draft notice of 2020 annual meeting to be sent out to all members, which we just talked about. The draft asked members to generate and submit Rev addresses to be used in co-op coordination and governance. Then also on Thursday, the DApp development working group, Theo showed a demo of functional encryption voting on Android. It uses Ionic framework via capacitor, view plus Ionic plus capacitor. We saw some of that in action. On Friday, climate and coordination call, photographer Sarah Skinner joined us with a discussion about social media, censorship, and advertising, as well as how blockchain tech can potentially facilitate higher levels of discourse and provenance. On Monday's Casper stand-up, there was a lighthearted discussion of building physics on top of the mathematics of agency. By the way, you can check out all these meetings on the Casper stand-up channel on YouTube. So if you go to YouTube and search Casper stand-up, you'll get them all. On Tuesday, RChain education, the education session discussed how monoid par operation collects all terms in one set and eval executes or reduces this set of terms. Complete examples of simple Rolang are available for review in the Discord education channel. In the communications working group yesterday, the communications committee discussed the newest updates to the blog site, followed by review of the blog guidelines document. After this, the newsletter structure was discussed, as well as the process for creating meeting summaries after each call. And today at the members hangout, we went over the education meeting details. Steve Henley, in prep for the governance call tomorrow, brought up the RChain cooperative strategic plan and the governance committee's role in actualizing the plan, prioritizing elements with specific action items and assigning them to people who take responsibility. And that brings us to now.
Hey, Daryl, is this list published anywhere with possibly links to the video?
Yeah, so the plan is to put this on as a blog entry, and then there will be links to each section of the video so people can just zap to wherever they want to go.
Great, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, we came in just under the wire, so thanks to all. And looking forward to chatting with many of you on Friday at the closed door session. Have a good week and